Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a video on the questions and answers from the developers, and this is the official forum. Keep in mind, this particular questionnaire is in the form of Chinese. I'll try my best to translate them, and I'll try to highlight some of the points. I'll also share the link with you guys, but I try to translate the page. Only the top part translates, the bottom part does not translate. So let's get into each of the questions, and let's look at some of the highlights. The first question talks about it's a little lonely to play as a single player. Let's hope for more of the co-op events that's coming. So the answer is, in the following patches, there will be more events that requires more co-op and more co-op methods as well that's coming. Followed by that, one of the questions says, if only we can lock in items, I don't want to accidentally enhance one of my items into material and waste that item. Currently, there is a way to lock items. What you do is you equip the item on as a character. But the answer from the developers is saying that yes, in patch 1.1, the lock system will be available, which is really nice. It's more convenient this way, instead of me going to my Bennett, giving him some items to keep, and then taking those back out of him again. The next question talks about if there is going to be an index of monsters, characters, books, etc. And the answer is yes. After collecting monsters, little animals, plants, etc., you have a Wikipedia, and that Wikipedia is a work in progress. This will be coming soon at patch 1.1. So at patch 1.1, we'll get an encyclopedia of everything that we came across. Next up, the question is about if we can get a compass or like a radar for the Oculus that's around the world, and also for the treasure chest and other interactive boards. It's really hard to find those. So in patch 1.1, as mentioned before in the previous patch notes, there will be an Oculus thing which allows you to find Oculus after you get the stature level over level 9. And the answer is yes. For the Oculus, there is one, but if you're looking for treasures, it's still you have to find them yourself. Now, if we're looking for additional treasures, if you look at Klee over here, what most people miss out is that Klee's passive is actually about all my treasures. So this automatic unlocks, and this displays the locations of nearby resource on Mondstadt on the minimap. So having Klee on the team is like a little mini radar for the treasures actually. So I'm really interested in trying her, and if I can get my hands on her when she comes out, I'll be really happy. The next question talks about if there's a hotkey to have potions or the food available in battle. It's a little annoying and interruptive as we open up a bag and have the food items. So the answer is yes. If successful with the patch on 1.1, we should have this availability. So like a hotkey system for the food items. Instead of us having to open the bag and going to the bag, search for the item, you can hotkey your items. The next part is actually a big focus. The question talks about the camera angles that is always changing. And when we talk about camera angles, what they really meant was the battle with Storm Terror. If you had this fight before, guys, it is extremely difficult. One of my viewers was actually saying the hardest part of this fight was not the boss, but the camera angle. As you can see over here, we're moving around, and as the bell slams and things happens, the camera angle is actually so difficult to adjust, and so hard to avoid projectiles that was coming. That's what making the fight super difficult. And at the same time, if you have difficulty with this boss, guys, we do have a guide ready for you guys. Now, the feedback from the developers is saying that currently they are looking to develop something that allows you to control your camera angle and lock your camera angle with different settings. But this is still a work in progress, and we're not sure if it's going to be ready on patch 1.1, so there's no mention of when it's going to be ready. The next question asks about the elemental interactions between water and also electric, and it seems like it doesn't do that much electric damage. So the answer for that is that there are some errors in the coding, and on top of that, you should be aware how you interact with your elements. We'll have a detailed elemental guide on this as well, so just for now, what the explanation is, as you apply elements, the element that is applied last is going to be one that's going to be calculating the damage. If it's your support applying the damage last, if you don't have enough damage on the support, you won't do that much damage. But if you have a DPS character, say the Luke finishing up with Vaporize or Melt with his fire damage, or maybe say someone like Venti finishing off with the throw damage and Amino damage, then you will do more damage. So make sure you finish off with your strongest damage character with the combinations of elements. Next question talks about enhancement, and this is actually what I was talking about in my guide as well. So the question is, as we enhance weapons and also artifacts, a lot of the excess XP beyond level 16 and 20 does not get refunded, and it feels really bad sometimes when we get a ×2 or even ×5. The answer from the developers is that yes, we're working on it, and in the future what's going to happen is the access experience will be refunded back as the enhancement rocks or the enhancement materials. So this way, if you get extra XP, that is not wasted but rather refunded back so you can have a future use. It's like experience cards that's giving back to us. Now, before the new patch comes with this particular mechanics, if you still have trouble with your enhancement, definitely check out our enhancement guide, which I show you guys how to get 200 or even 500% more XP with the correct usage of the ×2 and ×5 enhancement tricks. The next question talks about the elemental damage on the battlefield of grass, on top of grass. It says overload seems to be a little low on damage. The answer is that yes, you can trigger elemental interactions on the different environment, and on grass you can trigger the fire and burning effect. And on top of that, the developers answered that in patch 1.1, the environment will also scale with the world level. Currently it doesn't do that, and higher level boss or monsters don't take that much damage from the burning grass, but later they will scale as your world goes up. So if you are in a storm and if you freeze enemy with cryo, they will be frozen and take more damage. Similarly, if you trigger fire and elemental damage with on top of the grass field, you will do more damage as the world goes higher. The next question talks about meeting a traveler who is actually abusing bugs or who is actually cheating. So the answer is yes, we're going to add a report system, and after someone gets reported, then the staff members will look into the actions and codings of the player and determine if he is actually cheating. So they definitely look out for people who are cheating or people who are abusing the game. The second last question talks about characters being removed from the party and available party when they are sent to expedition. So if you look over here, I can't use my laser, I can't use my shelling, now they're in expedition. And sometimes I do need double electric or double fire just for some special puzzles. The answer from the developers are pretty straightforward. It says in the future versions, the expedition will not take away the character. So this way, when you do need your characters for a particular puzzle or battle, you can still use them. But that will be coming in the future updates, and it's not confirmed which update it will be. The final question from the Q&A is about Lisa and her normal attack. She will trigger Overload and Super Tank Duct depending on the elements the enemies have. But what people realize is the damage numbers are not showing or is not correct after a certain distance. The answer from the developers is saying the coding with Lisa and the interactions of those elemental interactions is actually based on the distance between the caster and also the enemy. If you're staying too far away, you'll not be able to do enough damage at the moment. And this is also a problem with a few of the range characters, and they're on point of that. So they are aware of that is happening and they are trying to test this out, and after testing they will look into how to fix and patch this up in the version 1.1, which is very nice. To summarize this Q&A, I think the biggest point to take away is that they're actually working on the camera angles. I find it extremely harder to fight bosses and high level bosses as the camera angle is not set or not locked in. It's much harder to maneuver. I'm super happy about it, and let me know what you guys think about those questions and answers. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to join us. We have a lovely community, and also I'll be looking for more news, builds, tips, and locations all about the game. And you can see my previous videos were really dedicated for Genshin Impact. As always, I wish you guys best of luck in Genshin, and also have a great time exploring this beautiful world. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.